Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you welcome, today we are talking about a fanfiction called The Misadventures of Cosplay Man. Details about this fanfiction leave in the description below. This starts off with Danny in the DC universe because he's taking a break from his kingly duties, having a bit of me time, and he's enjoying it so far until, because he's in Metropolis, he sees Superman getting his ass kicked. So not great, but and he's about to step in because he's like, oh, Lex is really clearly giving him a hard time, and he's like, okay, might as well kind of transform. But then he sees it's like a dollar store, and he gets an idea, which sparks, so he gets the idea, and so he dresses up in a poorly made, because it's from it's the dollar store, right? So it was poorly, Superman cosplay, underwear on the outside and everything. So Lex and Clark are equally like, what's happening here? What is this, right? Because it's like, and also Clark having a whole he's having a whole crisis because he's looking at him like, first off, okay, this is because it's not just some random, he comes in like Halt evildoer, sir, I can't. Gives some speech like it's Sailor Moon, like, in the name of justice, stop. So, but he immediately knows how to handle himself, and he's like, oh, he's actually really strong. Okay, great. So he's immediately like, cool, this is a meta, dressed up in a really bad Superman cosplay. And he's looking at the cosplay too, and he's like having a crisis. He's like, oh my god, is that what I look like? Is that what my costume looks like? With the underwear on the outside, he's like, I need to change that. Why didn't anyone tell me? So he agrees, like, oh god, is that what I look like? And after, he's done, as Danny helps him, this is when he realizes, he looks at him and he's like, he's looking at her and everything, like he looks real small and like real skinny. So he's like, are you like, he's immediately worried too. He's like, are you even eating? Like, he doesn't say, but he's like immediately worried. He's like, if he's eating, like, because clearly he needs to. And immediately he's like, okay, I got this. He's like, he wants to ask like a bunch of questions immediately, but he's like, because Danny's like, are you okay? Still in character, like, are you okay, rhythm citizen? And he wants to respond, but he can't. All he does is just nod his head, because what he really wants to say is like, who the hell are you? It's like, I know a friend who could speed run adoption. All right, how do you feel about the last name Kent? Like, it'll be great. Like, immediately thinking about it, because it's like, he looks like he hasn't eaten in who knows how long. But obviously Dan just looks like that because he's partially dead. He just looks like that. But he's like, but this is where Danny takes off. He's like, Cosplay Man, Superman edition, away. And he's like, fantastic. And like, he can't track him either. He did in the beginning because his heartbeat, but obviously that went away because dead. But so he couldn't really track him anymore. He's not that worried. I mean, he is worried, but he's not that worried because, like, okay, definitely not the last time you're gonna see him. And Danny found it really fun because, of course, he did. He just cosplays like someone else, and they have no idea who he is. And so his next little vacation little spot, Star City. Immediately, it's like, how trash is this cosplay gonna be? It's as bad as you think it is. Danny spends like 2 weeks following around Oliver, and when it's finally his time to shine, right? He's facing off against Merlin. He took an arrow to the knee. He's paralyzed now from whatever coating was on it. So it's finally Danny's time to shine. He's got like bedazzled like boots on, a disgusting bird hat, pantyhose, and like just almost like a Barbie bow. And it's like, what's happening right now? And he's been experimenting with his powers too. So with with the ectoplasm, he learned to shape it and use it with weapons. And so his arrows are a plunger and like some other suction cups, but they work, even though they shouldn't. And obviously, when they look at it, first off, Oliver was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck are you wearing?" He's looking at it, he's like, "I don't know if I've ever been more offended in my life by an outfit. What is it?" Because he immediately recognizes it's supposed to be him, and he's like, "This is the most insulting thing I've ever seen, ever." And then, Merlin, obviously, they both don't take him serious until he starts firing his little suction cup arrows. It's like on his elbows, like in his joints, because that's what he aims for first. And then when he goes to take it off, and then it doesn't, like it's actually stuck to his skin. And so that's when he realizes, oh shit, this is actually real. So they start firing at each other, and it's very clear Danny, because again, 2 weeks, so he doesn't have much experience. He's really good though, but not much experience. But he makes up for it by being really fast and dodging a lot. So when he eventually does get the upper hand, and he fires a plunger at his chest, and then he immediately stands over him with another plunger. Looks like it's been used. We'll never know. And he's like, when he says, it's like, you know what? I surrender. Don't fucking plunger on my face. And so whenever everything's kind of said and done, Merlin's been arrested. He does make sure the plunger is kind of unstick to him, and he's like, yeah, no hard feelings, but I had to take out the joints first because I knew you would definitely kill me otherwise. And Merlin, for his part, at least doesn't hold a grudge. He's like, yeah, shame on me for falling for it, because what the fuck is that outfit? And he just sees, so he just walks off. He's like, Cosplay Man, Green Arrow Edition, away. It's like, what the fuck is happening? It's like the most even though he walks, it's like, oh, what is this? It's like annoying. He talks mannerism. It's like, why are you like this? And so Oliver now he's thinking, it's like, all right, well, now he's gonna take him on as a mentor, because I'm like, if he's gonna do this, he's gotta learn more in self-defense. Because what is this? Like, it's 2 weeks you spent just tailing me. That's not enough. And he's like, this is bad, right? And so next stop we're going to Coast City, because of course, with how he like steps in when he's like battling Sinestro, and so he comes Surfer vibes immediately. How looks over usual. He's like, what disgusting outfit are you wearing? What is that? But he comes in, he's like halt, evildoer. Oh my god, what? And it's like, of course, again, no one takes seriously. Cool. They end up fighting. Hal immediately recognizes, like, okay, he's real good. Like, he knows how to fly, but creating things, not so much. And that, because he creates it. Like, at first he didn't know what to think of him until he realized, oh, you're actually a Green Lantern. From his perspective. And he's like, oh, he's actually a Green Lantern. And he's like, maybe it's under the ring pop he has. The ring is under the ring pop. And so he doesn't, but he looks at him and like he's kind of inexperienced in creating things, because obviously it's just, he's using ectoplasm. He doesn't know that. So like, no, he's not the greatest. But kind of comes ahead when Sinestro, fires at him, and then he just eats it, because I'm like, whatever, he'll just eat your construct. And then Sinestro immediately recognizes, oh my god, you're an ecto-entity. I don't want to do this anymore. And then just leaves, because ecto-entities can eat, in front realms too. It's like, just siphon off your rings. None of it works. Just whatever. Emotions. They love that shit. What are you gonna do about it? And so Hal recognized, he's like, it's like, you're ecto, and he's like, yep. And he's like, oh my god, how are you? He's like, I'm only half though. It's like, so he's like, so Hal's immediately kind of like putting pieces together. They're not the correct pieces, this is like a completely different puzzle, but like, he puts some pieces together. He's like, probably really sad backstory then. And he's like, so how'd this come out? It's like, oh yeah, my parents, And he basically just kind of trauma dumps. And so Hal ends up getting the wrong idea. Because to Danny, this is just like, yeah, I know everything. My parents tried to vivisect me, whatever. They didn't really know, like, they weren't trying to do it to me. But, we worked it out. And it's like, what are we talking? And then, like, he gets talking about Vlad, but he never says Vlad. He's like, oh, he just says, oh, the fruit. Like, ugh. Yeah, he and my mom dated for, like, all 6 hours. Girls hatched, blah, blah. Absolute psycho. And so to Hal, he's thinking, okay, your relationship with your bio dad, who he's thinking is Vlad, he's like, is so bad that you don't even remember, like, acknowledge relation between you two or say his name. So that's who he thinks, like, Fruit Loop is. And then his mom and his stepdad are crazy psychotic people who try to vivisect him. And that's the picture he's putting together. It's like, okay, so gonna need to do some things. What? So he's like, I'm gonna need. He's like, immediately, he's like, I'm gonna need to breathe. Like, we're gonna need to do some research. Gonna need to do some other things. Gotta protect. Immediately, like, file away adoption immediately. And John and Guy end up coming. And they're like, oh, who's he? What is that ugly outfit? He's like, I'm like Cosplay Man. Hal hears, he's like, why Cosplay Man? It's like, I'm obviously cosplaying him. He's like, I'm sorry, what? He's so offended. It's like, disgusting. Absolutely not. But he ends up leaving and, just portaling away. And so he explains the situation to others, like, Jesus. So, because right now he's, like, somewhat high because he explained, like, yeah, eating fear is basically, like, just like weed to ghosts. It's like, oh, nice. So he's kind of high right now. He's fine. But, so they're like, so he's like, we need to put, get a training, regimen going up. It's like, we do everything. So they're, in their minds, fully already, Cosplay Man, already one of them, immediately already adopted by them. The next person he ends up running into is Barry, obviously. He ends up making a deal with with the Speed Force, because the Speed Force really wanted to see Clockwork again, because they haven't in a long time. They haven't visited. And so in exchange for borrowing some of the Speed Force, they'll let, see Clockwork again. It's like, okay. It's like, sure. And so for like a month, he followed Barry around before going to Speed Force. So for a month, he followed Barry around, and Barry felt it. He just didn't know who or what. And then he got the Speed Force. And then he saved Barry and took care of everything. Same, usually interfering during battles. And the entire time, no one can, like, understand Danny, because he's got, like, a bandana and then he's got something over it. So it's like, no one can understand anything he's saying. So because Barry's leg ends up broken, it'll heal in a couple hours. But he ends up talking to him. He's like, I understand nothing of what you're saying to me right now. And he's very sweet towards Danny. And Danny, he's like, I'm supposed to say I'm cosplaying you and everything. It's like, oh, it's very sweet. And because he, obviously by this point, he expects different reactions. He's like, it's actually like, where it's like, oh, it's like, he's like, I'm not gonna judge you for it. You saved me and everything. So it's like, whatever. So he's like, you're my favorite. And it's like, cool. And then he quickly gives way to being horrified because he asks, it's like, so how long have you had this before? And so, like, at first, because he held up 4, it's like, oh, 4 months. He's like, that's pretty new. Yikes. And it's like, no, 4 weeks. It's like, that is like yesterday. That's awful. Okay. So he's like, don't panic. You got this. You can do this. And so he's like, don't panic. You got this. You can do this. Okay. And so he is, once again, trauma dumping on Barry, because he starts asking, and it's like, oh, does anyone know about you being here? It's like, oh, yeah, but only they're around my age. It's like, as in Sam Tucker. Again, dot contact, they have no idea. And he's like, oh, no adults. It's like, well, Fruit Loop knows, but he's like a walking red flag. I mean, honestly, no means no. It's like so disgusting. He's like, honestly, he took me, and he stops as soon as he says this. because he didn't want to go into detail anymore. But because he was saying it without thinking, how he's like, oh yeah, he took me down his creepy basement and took mine, and he stopped, and he's like, never mind. It's like, so obviously we know where that goes. It's just like he took his DNA to make a clone. That's all it is. But to Barry, obviously, that's like, I'm sorry, what did he do to you? Like, obviously, we're going down a very different path. And, Danny's like, no, nothing. He didn't do anything. And I would know, like, you can't prove it anyway. I would know. I tried. There's nothing you can do. It's like, that is so sad. So he's like, have you told your parents? Like, yeah, but they think, like, best friends and all that. So, like, I've told him many times, I don't like him, don't want to be around him. And it's like, and he tries to make Barry feel better. He makes it worse, though, by saying, like, oh, don't worry. Like, I'm used to it. Like, people don't, like, listen to me. And it's like, why would that be reassuring? And so Barry's, like, silently freaking the fuck out. And so he's, like, and he kind of, like, really looks at him, too, and he realizes how kind of skinny he is, too. And he's like, question, do you have a place you go back to? It's like, and Danny, he just says, he's like, I do have a place I could go back to, yes, because like he doesn't want to go back right now. Like, he's like, yeah, and Barry takes that as like could but not would, so it's like, okay, great, so possibly homeless, like, it's like, this isn't great. And like starving, so, and obviously because of the Speed Force, faster metabolism, so he gives him some money and he goes to the pizza joint, and that's where he leaves off. And meanwhile, Barry's talking to like he's talking to Kid Flash, and he's like, okay, you got that, like, Nightwing gave you, like, he ended up talking you into getting that, like, foster license, right? It's like, yeah, cool, you're gonna need it, because I don't think I'm gonna qualify for it after this. It's like, I'm gonna absolutely, I was like, I'm going to absolutely beat the hell out of this kid's godfather. It's like, it's over. It's like, pull the many strings, getting Bruce involved, definitely. There's no way. The next person he runs into is Diana, of course. He runs into her first as just like a civilian, which is very different from everyone else. And the only one, because he runs into Diana as Danny, they hit it off. Cheetah, obviously, she starts causing trouble. And then, so she starts causing trouble, and then obviously he jumps in. Terrible cosplay. And she takes offense to this, more so because she's like, I can't believe I've been taken down by someone in such an awful costume of like my arch enemy. What is this? And so they kind of start arguing. It's like, you're mocking her. She's like, I'm not mocking her. It's like, I had like $3 and like a nickel. I don't have much. Like, there's not much I can do. Like, it's like, as he's, he ties her up with a jump rope. It's like, there's not much I can do. I had like $3 and a nickel. And Diana's also the only one to know that Danny is Cosplay Man, because after, when she just said and done, she wanted, Diana wanted to track him down because he knew Amazon moves, like some battle tactics. How do you know that? Just watching him. But she recognizes that Danny is, because she looks for Danny, because like obviously that commotion, like, oh, like, are you okay? Because she did have to leave him behind. It's like, completely fine. But then in his bag, she sees the jump rope, and it's like, keep this a secret. So they both kind of look at each other like, keep the secret. He's Cosplay Man. The next being, obviously, him going to Gotham. And so it's Cosplay Man Bat Family Edition, because you do it all in one night, because they all end up having in trouble. This Red Hood, he has like a bucket. So it's like a disco outfit for Nightwing. And then as Robin, he cosplayed as like the first Robin. It's a onesie, but he cosplayed as like the first Robin. So it's clearly Dick's rendition of him when he was Robin. It's like, golly, it's like, oh my god. And he ends up knocking a grenade back that Joker threw. So now he's unfortunately in pieces. I mean, still alive, but like in pieces now, whatever. And so, first off, when he showed up, it was first as like as Nightwing. No one took him seriously. It's like, what is that? Until he like kicked one of them, and immediately handcuffed the another, and then they're like, oh my god, it's a bat in a shitty costume. Get him! It's like, because they're like, what is happening? As Red Robin, because he says lines for each of them, and he's like, But for as like Red Robin, like first off, he was like he's kind of upset about it. He's like, at least you all got unique lines. Like all he stuff for Mario is like the recited lines for like the restaurant. Like he just recited lines from the restaurant for me. Like that's not even creative. But they equally, get worried about him because he trauma dumped again. First off, he was okay. This wasn't his fault though. I say that like he didn't do it the other times, unprompted. Um, but Scarecrow, gave him a dose of fear gas, and they were just kind of waiting, like, oh, is he okay? He's fine. He's just high now. And so he looks like it, and you're like, okay. And so he ends up trauma dumping on them, and they're like, and revealing, like, what again doesn't say his name, but Fruit Loops, like an unspeakable, because like he did technically that is a violation, cloning without permission. Come on, my guy. And so they're all really worried about him. And then he has a really bad trip and he starts freaking out. He's like, where's my nose? And like Damien feels bad. He's like, Jesus. He's like, he grabs one of the stuffed bats that he was using as like a little signal on his chest. And he's like, here's your nose. Transform back in a minute. And it's like, oh, he's like, because he feels bad. He's like, Jesus. It's like, I had a real bad trip. And then they're like, okay, I think we should come with us. And he's like, no, it's fine. Takes out a fishing rod. And he's like, away. And slowly just leaves. They're like, what the fuck just happened? It's obviously like, okay, that we Red Hood, like, go get him. Because what is happening? But they don't find him, obviously. They just find the clothes he ditched. And they start looking around for eateries because he's high. He's kind of want to eat something. Looking around for different lines. And, as they're saying, like, obviously, clear adoption bait. He's getting adopted. And they're looking at it, it's like, and they're convincing him, like, Barbara's like, can you at least convince him, please, change his name? Because why Cosplay Man? Especially, like, Red Hood, Jason's just like, I think he did great with mine. I don't even care. It's like, and, but obviously they, like, address, like, well, he's got to get therapy first for the trauma. So they're all very serious about this. It all kind of comes to a head when Fate, during one of the meetings, Fate is the one to bring it up because he complains about Danny because he dressed up as him and he got along surprisingly well with Glarion. Of course he did. He's being one massive troll. He cosplayed him like as in like, his joints ache. He forgets things and Glarion played along because he like mocking him. And when he, beat at that point they were playing, they weren't even really fighting. Like he was complaining about him. That's when everyone's like, oh my god, you met him too? And it comes out like, oh, that's Danny. Like, yeah. And then it comes out like one of them's like, yeah, I was gonna adopt him. It's like, and they started fighting because what are you talking about? I'm more qualified than you are. And then they all divide into groups. One kind of debating like, okay, he's clearly half ecto-entity, but they're debating like if he's really half human and like he's just like, misled or like he thinks he's half human because like with all these powers, are you? Or if like maybe that's just part of him being an ecto-entity. Another part is working on his costume and they're debating on, okay, completely making a different costume or making a costume to go under his cosplays because that's his theme. And he, Cosplay Man is his theme that he came up with. Another part wanting to train him and getting him to have more skills because clearly he's not the greatest in some areas. And then another in food because everyone just kind of unanimously decided he really needs to eat. By this time, Danny also knows like Clockwork's about to, his time's almost up. Clockwork's about to like, all right, vacation's over, come back home now. But before he can, Darkseid attacks, right? So, he's asked for help by like city spirits and all that. So it's like, of course, why couldn't he not? And so what he does is he makes a bunch of clones of himself. All the clones are dressed up. You got like 5 different Supermans, 6 different Wonder Womans, and like 8 different Constantines. It's I don't know. Like all of them are just like so many different ones. And so they all take part. Some beating the shit out of Darkseid, like a pinball. Some doing evac, healing with Zatanna and like Constantine's magic. He's just doing everything. And, he has Plastic Man, he has like a little Robin following him. So he's like, because he's already seen Danny, he's like, oh, like he goes to thank him, and as soon as he does it, he turns immediately, like he melts, and he flies back over towards like Danny, which is the original one. And all of them do that. So y'all get worried, especially since they see Danny, like a bunch of them going over and him writhing on the ground. And it's like, oh my God. And they see him and he's like, fine. But now he's like, ugh, that many clones. Don't ever make that many. And they see him first time. Oh my God, he's got blue eyes and like adoption bait. And they don't really get far because portal appears underneath him. So of course that means his time's up. And they're worried, of course. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. It's like, it's just my time. It's been really fun. Goodbye. Like he doesn't have enough time to say goodbye, like barely even. And he kind of comes out of clockwork, but he's like, it's fine. And so on the other side, they're thinking he's been kidnapped. Again, the story they have is like wild. Like he's been kidnapped by his bio father, Basil, whatever. And like, we need to rescue him. And it's like, and Clockwork, being who he is, immediately gives coordinates and a book on how to build like a portal to his dimension. It's like, of course. They knew he was from the Infinite Realms, but like clearly not from their Earth. And so they end up going, they stalk him for a bit, just like he did with them. And they realize nothing's what they thought it was. Because was Danny telling? Yes, but like, it's not really as bad as like you think it is. Or, just out of context, it sounds bad. Arguably, even in context, it also kind of still is bad. But not, just not that bad. But just like what he did with them, when he was facing off against Vlad, they jump in as cosplay of Danny Phantom. It's like, halt evildoer. So you just have like 6 of them. It's like, oh my God. No. Just all of them in poorly made Danny Phantom in Phantom cosplay. Just ready to help him halt evildoer. And then they went to Nastyburg and hung out. And they all kind of decided, hero, villains, alike, all decided, like, this would be a good vacation spot, right? It's kind of like a neutral zone. Just chill out and do whatever. And if they spent the majority of it in, like, bad Phantom costumes, I mean, whatever. So they all treat that like it's a vacation spot from then on. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, bye!